honestly the only thing I wanted to do, because I already have that. You posted an amazing post in the group, so I just wanted like a little video, like for 10 or 15 minutes, and I appreciate that so much. People were in my group were like, "Are you asking these people to do this?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm like so grateful, and I'm just so happy that like I had so much fun with you going back and forth on that offer, and I'm so happy that it worked in the end. Like whenever I get an offer working, I'm like, fuck yes, like that's awesome. So no man, you can talk about whatever you want. You already gave like the most banger post. So I'm just wanted to like add a little video component so people could hear and see your face too.
Yeah, cool.
But this is great. So Caleb, welcome. I'm super excited to do this with you. And I let your micro offer win because you posted this great win in our Facebook group, sharing about how you were making daily sales. Um, give a little update of kind of what's happened. And it's funny, we were talking going through the ad account bans and all the processes there, but even with that, you were still able to really consistently crank daily sales. So tell us a little bit about how from literally like just launching on day one, since we started working together where it wasn't really too dialed in, to then getting the offer slowly dialed in and then just kind of hitting that beautiful stage of making daily sales and scaling up the budget.
Yeah, so this was May 2024. In October, the previous year, I decided to go into sales. And before that, I had like a long background in emotional coaching and stuff. And I was struggling to find leads on social media. It was like since 2019 till then, like my reach had just plummeted. I'd made the cardinal sin of not building like a list. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I didn't know my audience. And I found your $11.90 program. And I was like, I've heard of this like self-liquidating offer thing. And I'm sure there's something in this. So I got into it and it was really, really, really good. And I got the basic thing following that Google Doc that you have dialed in. Um, and then I think you had an opportunity to join the Catalyst at that stage. And we didn't really have a lot of budget. like I think I told you we had probably had about 90 days runway.
I remember
And
that.
I remember at like one point, it was probably in that first week in May, where I got on a call. It was like 2 o'clock. And you might not have known this, but it was my last ditch chance to make it work. And so like
No,
I built I built all the page, and then I came to the call and you were like, change this, change this, change this. And I tried to be the first one to get the feedback so that I could get more feedback by the end of the call. And so this was 2 in the morning, right? And so you gave me all the feedback. I tweaked it, I changed it, I built the whole thing out. And I was trying to do it as fast as possible before you finished so I could jump back in and get feedback again. And then you gave me more feedback, and then I fixed it and tweaked it, and we launched it. And that night, it went profitable. So it was
love it.
like just I couldn't believe it, dude. I woke up in the morning and we are like, you know, we need this to work now because I can't keep afford spending $100 a day into nothing. I just need to see a sale come through to confirm that it worked, and it did. And
Love.
I think we got maybe 3 on the first day, and that was enough to break even. And I think he said leave it for 3 more days, and I think we had 333,
Amazing.
and so we would just break even.
I love it. And then what was the next piece after that? And first of all, great work on those ride or die moments where you're like, I need to make this work. And so I'm making it work. And you did. So that's incredible in itself. But what was kind of the progression after? So we worked on it together and I'm so happy that the changes worked and you were up till freaking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working on this puppy. Like that's the way. Tell me what happened after you started getting just a few sales a day. I can't remember. Or did you already have them? I can't remember the flow of the process.
So I'd actually built the whole thing out, except the one-time offer, like the $100 bump. And I had this 30-day challenge, sales challenge that wasn't converting. And so I kind of saw it in like stages. So I was like, okay, we know that the front end is kind of converting its break even. We need to get the average value order up. And so I kind of split tested it, and I ran this thing called the 4 buying personalities. And it's gone nuts. Like it's like 25% of the people who had brought the entry level offer had brought this one.
Amazing.
Um,
Okay.
with like 1 in 4.
And that was your upsell, right?
That was the
Upsell or
$27 upsell. That was the
okay.
bump, sorry.
Okay, got it.
So then once the bump was dialed in, I was like, okay, well now I need I need the $100 something.
Upsell.
And I tested a few things. I tested a workshop on this thing called prospect pipeline, and that kind of fell short. And I tested something else. And it wasn't until I got this one called Conversations That Convert, which was my workshop on the reverse selling method,
Yep.
that just went crazy. So I started getting, 10 to 15% of the people coming through buying that. And then I think that was July. And this is what I was saying to you before. We were spending $400 a day with like a 1.8 times return on ad spend with no back end included. Because the back end at this stage wasn't even dialed in. Like I've been
Yeah.
trying these things and none of them were working. And so we just had this like machine that's like firing. And I think our best day was crazy. It was like $400 profit and like 30 leads.
There's no better feeling. There's literally no better feeling when you're not doing anything, but you're making sales and you're like, what? Like this thing that I set up, a few weeks ago is actually doing this.
I think one of the things I'm most stoked about is I haven't had to post on social media since like July.
Amazing.
And it's not to say that I don't post, but like it's just email first. The other surprising thing, and I think this is when I joined the Catalyst, was that the Rainmaker,
Hmm.
that was like that really changed my relationship to like marketing, launching, and making offers. Because previously I just kind of like winged it and there was no real structure. And like I've sold, I think 60 workshops now. And I've launched maybe 5 different workshops. The first 2 failed and flopped. But then the last 3, prospect pipeline, conversations that convert, and objection eliminator, these ones went really, really well. But I kind of put it down to that process that I learned regarding on that 14-day kind of launch. Like, you have to take people through the ladder so they understand what it is, why it's important, why it's different, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was about mid-July. And then we went through ad ban Armageddon. And so
That is never fun. That is never a fun process, but it's part of it.
Yeah. And and so that all happened, and then the ad cost kind of spiked in August, and all this time I've trying to find a back end. And one of the things that I realized that was working really well is off the back of the workshops, if I offered VIP sort of integration or implementation sessions, that 80% of those people continued into some kind of offer. So the last workshop I ran, I had 5 people, 4 of them continued into a 30-day one-on-one intensive with me.
That's amazing.
Which I was like, this is great, like 90% conversion. And
That's
then
huge. Yeah.
And then last
text, like this is you within 6 months basically going after a completely different niche and vertical. Like this is literally like you basically took your skills and experience, saying, I don't like this market. I'm now going to apply it to this brand new market over here and then making it work. So that's huge, man. You basically just started a brand new business and launching and growing it within a few months. So that's like the big thing I want to say, because it's easy when you have like your old previous list and all these assets coming in. But when you don't, oh my gosh, and you're literally starting exactly like you said, you're like, my list was just completely unresponsive. My social media, no one was paying attention because I wanted to go this new direction. And it's like, you're making it work, man. That's freaking awesome. Like that's the big thing, right?
I think like over the last 7 years, I'd squeezed every dollar out of that list that I could. And so I kind of geeked out a little bit. I don't know if people care about numbers, but like these are the raw numbers. When I started, my list was 220. it's just crossed the like 1,100 people mark. This was like a couple of weeks ago, so it's probably more now. We spent $8,000 on ads and made 10,200 on just funnel revenue.
Huge.
Then I've sold 65 workshops at $100, so that's like 6,500 in back end, and then with all these intensives and stuff, it's because this is just recent. There's about $8,000 of other business. So we've got like 6,500 from the workshops plus $8,000 in intensives just off this funnel. And like one of them I made last night. He's a Frenchman. He came through. He bought everything in the funnel. And so whenever someone buys anything in the funnel, I make note to just personally message them and just say, hey, thanks. And he'd already dived straight into all of that because I'm absolutely loving it. And I was like, well, do you want to work with me for 30 days? He's like, yeah, send it through. I sent him the Google Doc. And then 5 minutes later, he brought the intensive. And I was
Amazing.
like, this is unreal. Like, this is crazy. Like, stranger 6 hours ago. And this came in, and this is the other thing that I love is like, I'm not on social media. So we were sitting there's this new playground that opened here in Bali. We're just sitting there and was watching Sally jump on the trampoline. I get this little ding on my phone. This email came through. This guy had brought all three. And it was like $150. And I think for that day, we had just profited $150 just off the funnel. And I was just looked at my wife and I was just like, what is this? Like, this is so unfamiliar. And it's not the first time that's happened. Like, we went out for dinner a couple of weeks ago and I get a ding on my phone again, and there's someone's come through, it's bought everything. So there's $150 profit. And it just paid for dinner.
Yes.
And it's so weird. I just felt like I poked a hole in the matrix or I broke something. Because I kept going, and it was just a surreal feeling where I'd see all of my friends who are like, organic personal brand, and they're all pouring out their heart, their best content, and it's just crickets. Like nobody's watching.
Yeah.
They're getting 1 or 2 likes here and there. And I'm opening up my phone and I had a friend, I was just, because he runs, he's got like an organic SEO and we have this competition of like how much profit per day. And he's kicking my ass. but I was just messaging, I was like, $250 profit today. I haven't done anything. And you just have these leads just coming in constantly. It's just, it's safe to say, dude, it completely changed the way I think about business. And so much so that I was saying to my wife, I was like, why did nobody tell us this at the start? Like the most important thing is a way to predictably get in front of your people and generate an audience. And
100%.
now we just have this machine, man. We just, as long as the Facebook ads are working, we just turn the dial and income leads. And like the thing is, now that the backend's getting dialed in, it won't even matter if the leads aren't profitable eventually. We were in a position where we just didn't have enough fat to run at somewhat of a loss. And one of the big lessons I had after the ads Armageddon with all the election and stuff was like, oh, can't rely on ads for profit. And so it's been a big focus on how do I create a back end to support the ads.
And that's kind of this is the thing is that well, first of all, you getting buyers every day doing your thing. There's literally no better feeling. And I remember when I just launched my very first one, feeling like for a client, and actually every single one I do, it's like when you're sitting there and you're like, look at this, like we're getting these like dirt cheap purchases. And it's funny because it's like a lot of people, we focus on the money on the front end, but the value is like you're just getting paid to grow your email list, right? And that it's like, if you think about how crazy it is that you made $2,000 adding like 700 buyers to your email list of people that are like, read your stuff, send me a doc, I'm in, right? And joins your intensive. Like that's huge. And I remember like launching the very first one ever for a client, and I felt the exact same way. I'm like, this like, especially after trying call funnels and all this stuff for so long, and you just feel like you're like, why have I not been doing this the whole time? And like, as you know, it does take a little more work. And I love to be blunt about that. Like putting together a free lead magnet and getting leads, like sure, you can do that all day, but they're free seekers, right? Free leads. You don't know anything about the quality of those people. But if you can spend a little bit of time and energy, like getting a micro offer dialed in and getting buyers, it just changes everything. And there's no better feeling than like waking up and being like, well, I literally like went to bed and I woke up and I have like 5 new leads in my like buyer leads that just bought a bunch of stuff from me. And just I'm living my life, but the lead gen is just happening as I live my life and it's not involved in the time. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned is that your business should like you have to create leverage somehow. And it's I've just said, let's just create leverage through offers. Like you don't need to have a big team, doing cold outbound or like DMing every single person on your follower list. Like you can just have offers running that ship for you and just bringing people in. And as far as the back end goes, I know you'll get that dialed in. Like I've got people same kind of boat as you where they come in and they say, hey, let's just get buyers rolling in and test different mid-ticket offer ideas and like see what sticks. And then literally they just start asking people like, hey, what do you want more help with? What would you like more help with? And they're like, oh, I'd love to hit here. And you start formulating the offer because dude, I made the same mistake. Like when I first launched the Catalyst, I remember like the initial doc worked good, and then I made changes and it just crashed and burned. Like I don't know, I can't even remember what I did, but I did something to it, and it went from like a bunch of people saying yes to absolutely nobody saying yes.
Mhm.
And it's all like exactly like the micro offer. It's just like testing a few different things and seeing what works. And as long as you go in the mentality that it will work, which is exactly like what you did with the micro offer, you're like, I'm making this work. I will fucking stay up as late as I have to and get this work in. Then you could definitely get the back end out in. And I know you can because I've seen it, man. And you're in a great market for it. So what's the like I wanted to know. So you're doing these intensives, you're doing these pieces. What's kind of like now that you've got a little bit more runway, where do you see the vision kind of taking to? Are you going to double down and like keep dialing in these micro offers, or what are you really most excited about now?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think this is where like strategy meets kind of like I don't know energy a little bit. I don't know how woo people are, but like
It
the
is,
people that have been
100%. Yeah.
yeah, the people that have been showing up have been like dream clients. And this was wild to me. I didn't realize that I had this limiting belief, but it was like I could only get these warm dream clients if I did organic because they've been following me for such a long time. But everyone that's been in an intensive has been like just a joy to work with. And it really kind of like surprised me because number one, they're not salespeople. I've really not had a lot of salespeople. It's like 80-20 business owners.
Oh, really?
Um,
Okay. So it's 80
yeah,
20 business. Okay, so that's huge feedback.
yeah. Um, so that's been really, really fascinating. And also like it's become really clear what the problem the business owners have was. It's like this lady jumped on, she's like, I've had 12 sales calls and I didn't convert any. And I was like, okay, well, we can fix that.
Yeah, we can definitely
and
fix it. Absolutely.
yeah. And that seems to be the story is like these business owners that are coming through. That's like another lady, 2 out of 10, and she's selling a consulting product. I'm like, 2 out of 10 are warm leads. Like, you should be double that,
Yeah,
really.
easily.
And so, yeah, so what the future looks like is I realize that I don't love doing group calls consistency for an indefinite amount of time,
Oh,
but I love one-on-one. And so I've kind of been like working within these constraints of like, what am I willing and not willing to do? But also like, where is the market that I feel most drawn towards? And I feel more drawn towards the business owner, entrepreneur type person rather than the sales professional. Um, so I think that kind of informs the direction a little bit is putting together um, some kind of offer. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but my plan was I've sold so many of these intensive that I have to up the price now because I'm booked because I'm going to go away and then I'm booked when I come back. So um, yeah, so I have to up the price. And that was always the plan. It was like validate the offer. Okay, great. Now I'm in demand. I can push the price up. Um, so yeah, so it's kind of like I just want to see with these, 6 or 7 people that are going through, like what are the common problems? What am I enjoying coaching? And then put an offer together regarding that.
yeah, man. I think you're doing the right thing. And if that's the people you're enjoying working with, and this is the nice thing about this, is that if we don't know, like we just have skill and we've worked with clients in the past, but we're trying to kind of like figure out that new direction of, well, I worked with some clients in the past, but I didn't really enjoy working with these people, so I want to change. It's like, let's just put together offers and bring the right people into our world and we'll figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
That's huge for you. I think I would say just on your offer piece, the biggest thing you could probably do is uh literally, yeah, listen to the language and put all the people in a group and do interviews with them, like exactly like I'm doing with you. And then you can learn
Mm.
about kind of where people are, where they get stuck, what they were thinking before joining the program, and then you can dial this all in because this like now that you have lead or client flow, it's like, okay, well, let's just get the language out of your mouth. And then you can literally just feed that transcript to AI and stuff and say, like, what are the common things all these people are saying? And they'll say, like, oh, this line, this line, this line, this line. And it's like, boom, there's my copy. All right, let's put that over here. Right. So there's so many tools you can use for that. But the biggest thing is now that you have client flow, you can get that feedback rather than trying to like sit down and mentally masturbate and figure it out. That's the biggest lever. So you're on a good path, man. I'm super excited for you. Just wanted to say, is there anything you'd say to anyone as we conclude this, or anything you'd want to share about micro offers, what you're doing? I think you've done a great job outlining the ride or die. Let's sell something micro offer. But anything else you'd want to share with people that are considering
I
like actually getting these offers dialed in?
I think I undersold how green I was with ads. Like, I think people might look at this and go, "Oh, easy for you because you had some." I had no background in ads. I was scared of ads. My previous ad experience was hired someone, $3,000, produced nothing. Prior to that, I paid $5,000 to a mentor. He ran it through, generated some leads, and they were all terrible. And like, I was, I would open up Manager and do overwhelm. So like, I think it's really important because I was so like overwhelmed by the process. It took me so long, not because it's difficult, but because I was doing overwhelm to set up the tracking, to like get the business manager and stuff. And I remember I jumped on the first call of yours and you were like, navigate to the ad set. And I was like, what's an ad set? How does he know where the ad set is? Like, am I going to look like an idiot if I showed my ads and then I don't know where the ad set is? Like, this was where I was at, man. Like, and I think it's really, that was the thing that blew me away, man, was like the ads was the easy part. Like, like I'm sure I can do way better at ads and they're not fantastic, but like it blew me away that like I could just chuck some templates into Chat GPT, put it out, test it. It was good enough to validate a sale.
Yeah.
That is what blew me away, that I think most people are like, oh my God, ads. And all I would say is have $150, be willing to throw it at the wall and just, put it in and just give it a crack and validate your offer. Um, and then the other thing, like I learned a bunch through doing the actual micro offer page, is like I built the whole page before just focusing on the top part.
Mhm.
Like, because once you do I think you call it the 1-2 punch, which is like announcement, subhead, mechanism, all that stuff, North
Yes.
Star, um, that writes the rest of the page. So it would be, and then I think the other key piece is like, just do it bit by bit. Like, don't try and do the whole thing because it's probably taking me since May to confidently say I've got the whole thing done, but I've been doing it in pieces. So it was like validate the offer, then it was get the offer break even, then it was do the bump, then it was do the one-time offer, then it was figure out the back end, and I'm still figuring out the back end. But yeah, I think that's probably the piece I'd want to leave people with is like I was not good at ads. So like my success has nothing to do with ads. It was literally just plug and play what you put in evergreen ads into the ads manager, make sure the pixel was set up, which took me 2 hours, and then make sure the other thing, I don't even know the name of what it's called, but make sure that's set up
Yeah,
too.
that's the API. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Always
That's
like
right.
that. Make sure that's done.
Yeah. And then, just give it a go. And then I think also like be prepared to eat a little bit of crap because like it wasn't smooth sailing. Many of these times when the offer flopped or the ad account got banned or the ad got rejected, it was really deflating. Like
For sure.
you you really have to like lean in and just go, nah, I'm going to make this work. And then on the other side, I'm so stoked, man. It's completely changed. I mean, I want to say life. I don't know if that's too, I don't think that's over the top, man, because we were at the point where, like, if I didn't find a way to make the new business angle work, I was going to go back and get a job. Like, that's how close we were to the line. It's like, this has to work. It's funny that it did work, but
Some things are
yeah,
meant to be. Right?
yeah, like it just, I mean, it just works. Like, I think, if people just give you the grace to just follow the system, it just works. You might need to iterate a few times, but it just works. So
Thank you for sharing that. And I agree with you on all points, especially the piece of going bit by bit, because I've seen people try to just rush into it and it freaks them out and they get overwhelmed. So that was actually fantastic advice, is take it piece by piece. Like, just focus on the top thing, make it really, really clean and simple, like especially your headline and your mechanism and all that core piece. And then, hey, like, let's just get it validated. And then, hey, let's add the order bumps in and the upsells and all of those pieces. And I agree with you. The ads are literally the easiest freaking part. Everyone says they have an ad problem. And I'm like, no, your offer just is wrong. Like, the ads are the easiest part. Um, so man, this was such a great experience. Thank you so much for doing this, and very excited to get you in the upcoming community to do a sales training. I'm really pumped for that, because I know you have a lot to share, and I think sales is sales is everything. We're all selling all the damn time. So learning how to do that in a way that is not salesy and ethical, and with some fun pieces. Especially, I know you love your energy, and I love that as well. So I'm very, very excited to dive in when we do that live. But thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you around.
thanks, man.
Okay, I can get the team to cut it there. So that was amazing. Thank you so much. Like, that was so huge. That was freaking unreal case study story.
Mate, like, I can't believe it. Like, I like my wife and I, like, we just, like, what happened, Caleb? Like what happened between May and now? It's ridiculous that this is happening. Like, I think one of the things I forgot to mention was another one of the financial pressures is we were going to Europe. So we had this balance of, like, I had to invest, but I had to save for Europe. And now Europe is not only paid for, like, we had these two goals. We had, like, budget goal, and then we had fancy goal. And now we're going, like, fancy Europe. We're not quite at the go business class because it's not responsible, but it's just so much more relaxed. Like, we just have such a good buffer for the first time in 2 years. Like, we have a buffer through till January, February next year.
That's fucking awesome.
It's just, this
so
is wild.
fucking awesome. I might even tell the team to clip that piece in, because that was really good.
Good.
But no, that was huge, because I swear that's the biggest thing, is when you have, when you're, like, terrified and you're like, I have literally, like, 90 runway to, okay, we're going on a comfortable Europe trip, to now we even have, like, money stowed away for a rainy day. It completely changes the way you make decisions. So dude, I'm so pumped for you. Thank you so much for doing this, and I'll definitely be in touch about that workshop. Go enjoy your trip. You're going to Europe in, like, a week and a half then, right?
Yep, on the 20th.
Go enjoy. We're going over there in February. I'm very excited. So go enjoy, have an amazing time. I'll get you to do that workshop when we're back. I'm pumped for you.
Sounds good, man. Thank you
Cheers,
so much.
Man. Thank you.
And just thanks again. Like, it's just,
thank
I'm
you.
so happy, dude. I sing your praises everywhere. You're in my workshop. It's like, hey, if you want to learn how to drive ads, like, go to sellwhileyouSleep.com. You feature in the Google Docs. Is just so.
I will hook you up with an affiliate link. Like, if you bring anyone into the catalyst, you get 25%. So you, like, for life, reoccurring. So if you want that, let me know. I'll get the team to hook you up. Would be cool. So happy to, if you're going to support me, I'm so happy to kick it right back your way. So I appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one for your trip, and I'll be in touch. All right.